Hello, everybody. Wow, look at us. It's the middle of the summer in Maine, and we're all Zooming. Who would imagine? Really appreciate how everybody taking the time here July 1st to do this. It's really important. And, the last 3 months have been an important process. So I want to thank everybody every step of the way on doing this, and especially today. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Lee Humphrey, president of EMDC, and on behalf of our board of directors and my colleagues, want to welcome everybody. This CEDS process, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, is both a requirement from EDA, Department of Commerce, but more importantly is something to do every 5 years that helps us get reminded on what our strengths are and what our resources are and how can we make them better. And this 3-month process really is a standout activity, and it was led by my colleague, the EMDC planner, Anna Stockman, who did a great job in not only coordinating the flow of information, but the content and engaging people. It's really, we had the big meetings, we had the task force, we had special interviews you'll see in the back of the report. And it really kind of gave some substance to this whole process. And so Anna deserves a lot of kudos. So if we can give a Zoom clapping to. And also I want to recognize through this process, we had 3 keynote speakers, Heather Johnson, Commissioner of DCD. And that was an important element of this because the state had just gone through a 10-year plan, a strategic plan for the state. And for us to coincide our plan with theirs is essential. And so having Heather speak was really important. Equally important was Hannah Pingree, who's the planning and innovation czar for the state. And she's not only leading the efforts on climate resiliency and awareness, but just looking at ways that we as a state can do better. And that was an important activity for us. And then Senator Angus King, in particular, we were interested in having him be a keynote speaker. 8 years as governor, 8 years as senator. He's got a good perspective and was a champion of the latest legislation to help our economy recover. So that was really important. But the thing that's most important is the involvement of all of you folks. And I think the fact that our congressional staff people, we get kind of used to seeing Senator King, Senator Collins, and Congressman Golden's people, and they're at so many meetings. But it's more than just attending these meetings. It's the input they provide during the process, but also the input back to their bosses, and it's really important. And I think here in Maine, we're lucky to have that. In the same regard, our folks who represent the federal agencies have been involved in this process and throughout, and our state partners too. And so it's, I think we're spoiled a little bit in Maine in that our federal state officials are accessible, but more than that, they really care and they share our common goal and common mission. So I just want to thank all of those folks. There's one feature in this report that's a little different from a usual CEDS report, and we were trying to kind of capture the spirit of resiliency and identity and a promising future. And so we've got some artists who have contributed, starting with the cover of a sailing ship in a sunrise by George Danby, who most of you know is doing editorial cartoons, but you can see by the cover, he's very creative. And then Samantha with the Bangor Art Society was the winner this year of her piece of art on climate resiliency and using colors to show the dramatic change. So that's part of the report. And then Patty Griffin, who has released dozens of records and received dozens of awards, but she grew up in Old Town. And so there's a beautiful song about where she comes from that's going to be part of this report. And I think it really tells you that no matter what you do and where you go, Maine's always going to be with you. And I think it really comes through in Patty's song We had talked to her about performing, and she's against Zoom. She says music doesn't translate on Zoom, so at least we have her in the report with her lyrics. And so just overall, I want to thank everyone. It's really important when you look at the list of who's involved and you see in the report, it's very significant. And each one of you not only has a perspective of your own community, but I think there's a common theme on how do we do things better together. And I think it comes through. And, you know, we just went through this pandemic, which was a big test for everybody. Test for businesses, test for communities, test for people. I mean, our resolve was really put to the test. And I think we passed it with flying colors. The state as a whole honored public health guidelines, and we got through this in a way that was really remarkable. And I think the strategy afterwards, and I was part of the Governor's Economic Recovery Committee, is how do we make sure that we work all together with our federal partners, our congressional partners, our community partners, to make sure that resources are combined and leveraged so we can go forward together. And I think Maine's in a great place. I think this report captures that, and it captures it because of what all you folks have done. Locally elected officials, county commissioners, business people, university and community college folks, and it's just a remarkable cross-section of people. So I just want to thank everybody for spending a summer day in Maine on Zoom. And we're going to go through this report. We've got several people who are going to participate. And then we're going to close with the Mayor of Bangor and EMDC Chairman Dan Tremble. So once again, Anna, I just want to thank you for all the work you did. The addition of Anna to EMDC has really enhanced the kind of work we do, not just in this report, but overall. So I really appreciate that. And let's go to it, Anna.
Thank you so much, Lee, and thank you to everyone that's been involved throughout this process. Thank you to the EMDC team. EMDC provides many services, and having the resources and employees participate in this process has really helped to bolster this plan and to put it together. So a little bit of background before we jump into the plan. As one of the 7 economic development districts in Maine, EMDC is tasked by the EDA to maintain and update a CEDS every 5 years. And after months of gathering input and consulting with regional professionals from a variety of sectors, we are so excited to launch a plan that guides future economic growth and leverages the many assets and opportunities our region has. Some quick housekeeping before we get started. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking. And if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please feel free to type those in the Zoom chat box. My colleague Ryan will be monitoring the chat. So at our meeting today, I will be walking you through the major sections of the plan. You will also hear from a couple of my colleagues here at EMDC, as well as a few members of the CEDS task force, a subcommittee that worked to fine-tune the vision, goals, and strategies of the plan. And then we will finish with closing remarks from Dan Tremble, EMDC's board chair and Mayor of Bangor. So our CEDS process began in March when we were joined by Heather Johnson, Commissioner at the Department of Economic and Community Development. And Commissioner Johnson gave an overview of Maine's 10-year economic plan and really emphasized the importance of regional economic plans like the CEDS and how both regional and state plans can support and reinforce each other. At that meeting, attendees participated in a SWOT analysis exercise in small groups in Zoom breakout rooms to identify the region's assets, opportunities, and areas for improvement. On April 1st, we focused on climate resilience, and we were joined by Hannah Pingree, the director of the Governor's Office of Policy, Innovation, and the Future, who spoke about the Maine Climate Council's 4-year Climate Action Plan. We also discussed the significance of focusing on climate resilience and the impacts it could have on the region if it's not addressed. You will see that throughout the CEDS process here, the CEDS task force met 3 times, and the main goal of that subcommittee was to consider the input received at these larger stakeholder meetings and brainstorm and finalize the plan's goal areas, strategies, and potential implementation partners to help accomplish the goals set forth by the plan. On April 22nd, we held the 3rd and final stakeholder meeting, during which we were joined by Senator Angus King, who spoke about key items of focus for the region like broadband and transportation, and the importance of regional economic plans like ours. In the weeks that followed the last stakeholder meeting, the CEDS task force met twice more to finalize the strategies and implementation partners identified in the plan. And additionally, one-on-one interviews were conducted with regional professionals of diverse backgrounds to further inform sections of the plan. A business survey was also developed in partnership with the Northeastern Workforce Development Board, and that received 211 responses from business owners across 6 counties, including Penobscot, Piscataquis, Hancock, Waldo, Aroostook, and Washington. And that brings us to our release today. So as you can see, public involvement played a significant role throughout the CEDS process. So to recap, the CEDS committee and CEDS task force each met 3 times between March and May of this past spring. And over the course of the 3 CEDS committee meetings, a total of 76 people attended and 14 people participated on the CEDS task force. Part of what makes a CEDS successful is having broad-based and diverse stakeholder participation. So throughout this process, we engaged with individuals representing municipalities, counties, state departments, and congressional and federal entities. 12 one-on-one interviews were conducted with individuals from a variety of sectors, including transportation, manufacturing, natural resources, and tourism. The 211 businesses that participated in the survey, the business survey reflected on various topics, including regional assets, workforce, COVID-19 pandemic impacts, and advantages and disadvantages to doing business in the region. And all of the input we received from stakeholders across the region really guided the process, as well as the formation of the goals and strategies that emerged in the plan. So the CEDS would not have been possible without all of the many individuals and perspectives involved.
No, that job is, I work one
So
night
the
a week.
regional assessment
meeting.
section describes current economic conditions and trends, including population, age distribution, educational attainment, employment, labor force participation, and top industries and occupations in the region today and projected in the future. The region is home to nearly 20% of the state's population at close to 263,000 people, 60% of which reside in Penobscot County, followed by Hancock, Waldo, and Piscataquis counties. And of the region's population, 60% participate in the labor force, which sits just below Maine's labor force participation rate of 63%. Similar to trends experienced by the state, national, and global economies during the COVID-19 pandemic, the region's unemployment rate increased to 5.7%, which exceeds the state's unemployment rate of 5.4%. Unsurprisingly, the region struggles with an aging population and workforce, which really emphasizes the need to increase the labor force participation rate of existing residents and attract talent from out of state. The EMDC region currently contains 18% of Maine's total jobs. In 2020, the region's largest industry was healthcare and social assistance, which employs 19% of the region's workforce. Over the next 5 years, this sector is projected to have the highest demand, adding over 10,500 jobs to the regional economy. Although the region has experienced a decline in manufacturing in recent years due to mill closures, there is projected demand for manufacturing occupation. For example, as the region implements clean energy alternatives, demand is expected for technicians and positions in construction related to offshore wind and solar. Despite the continual demand for manual occupations like construction and manufacturing, there is high demand projected for positions in healthcare and educational services that really require more technical and complex skills. Fortunately, the region's 7 colleges and universities offer curriculums and micro-credential and badging programs that are accessible to the region's workforce so they can gain the in-demand skills they need to participate in the workforce. And these are just some of the many statistics in the plan that describe the current condition of the economy. These are the results of a SWOT analysis exercise that CEDS committee members participated in at our first meeting in March. 52 participants worked in small groups to identify the region's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And working in their groups, participants discussed the region's assets, areas for improvement, opportunities for growth, and barriers to growth. And as I go through the different strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, leveraging these regional strengths and opportunities to diminish the weaknesses and threats are key for a resilient and vibrant economy. So first of all, from numerous educational institutions, access to healthcare, and extensive opportunities for outdoor recreation, the region offers a high quality of life to its residents. Overall, a strong quality of life makes the regional economy more vibrant and boosts the attraction and retention of workers and businesses. When it comes to outdoor recreation opportunities, as a 4-season destination for tourists, the region is home to Acadia National Park, the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument, and Mount Katahdin in Baxter State Park. The many tourists that the region attracts creates jobs and substantially contributes to Maine's GDP. And that right there really emphasizes the importance of outdoor recreation and the significant roles that tourism and hospitality play in the regional economy. Through collective action and strong partnerships, regionally shared goals are accomplished. At the regional level, projects like the Moosehead Lake Ski Resort, which will bring close to 500 jobs to the region, would not be possible without collaborative support from EMDC, Moosehead Lake Economic Development Corporation, and Piscataquis County Commissioners. That represents just a few of the many regional partnerships that will be important to leverage as the region implements the strategies in the CEDS. The location of the Bangor International Airport puts the region at an advantage for meeting the current and future demands for passenger travel and the movement of freight. In the business survey, respondents identified the airport as being one of the regional advantages that they find most important. And by gauging the needs of communities and businesses, BGR offers opportunities for increased trade as well as domestic and international travel. When it comes to areas that the region can stand to improve upon, the lack of broadband is a significant one. The shift to remote work, education, and healthcare during the COVID-19 pandemic really created a sense of urgency surrounding the critical need for an accessible and affordable internet connection. To keep regional businesses competitive, increase opportunities for job creation, telemedicine and education, broadband expansion, and the reduction of the digital divide must be at the forefront of regional priorities. Rising energy costs presents a barrier to regional economic growth, particularly related to the establishment and maintenance of small businesses. The business survey respondents specified lower energy costs as a characteristic they would change about the business climate if they could. To ensure dependable access to remote work, education, and healthcare, improved energy efficiency is essential for the immediate and long-term growth of communities and businesses. For public transportation, greater investment in public transportation infrastructure continues to be a pressing need for the region. Roads, bridges, and sidewalks are vital for the individuals to actively participate in the economy, and poor transportation infrastructure really limits their ability to actively participate in the economy and access daily needs like employment, food, healthcare, and education. Transportation is a particular challenge for individuals that experience economic insecurity and may not have the financial means to own a personal vehicle. So identifying these gaps and underserved areas in the existing public infrastructure network will be key to ensuring equitable, reliable means for travel within the region. To support the attraction and retention of remote workers, broadband infrastructure must be invested in to expand old existing lines. Additionally, costly vehicle repairs, the aging of roads, bridges, and sidewalks impact connections between small municipalities and regional service centers like Bangor, which are really crucial for residents' accessibility to jobs, healthcare, and education. Older buildings, roads, and bridges are also particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, including warming temperatures, sea level rise, flooding, and the increasing frequency of severe storms. So moving forward, the region must maintain and invest in infrastructure to increase efficiencies, adaptability, and resiliency. As regional deaths exceed births, an aging population and workforce are growing concerns for the economic future of the region. This really emphasizes the need to attract and retain young workers of all backgrounds and be able to support a racially and ethnically diverse population. Fortunately, the region is equipped with resources and programs to welcome new Mainers of diverse backgrounds. For example, the Maine Multicultural Center provides specialized services to welcome new Mainers and promote the benefits of expanding cultural and ethnic diversity. Utilizing new and existing resources to welcome and support workers of all backgrounds will be critical to strengthening the region's workforce efforts. The COVID-19 pandemic has really emphasized the opportunity to attract remote workers, as many have realized that as long as they have a reliable internet connection, they can work from absolutely anywhere. In the state's least populated county, Piscataquis, more properties were sold in 2020 than the county has seen since 2007. And this really goes to show that a high quality of life and opportunities for outdoor recreation and characteristics are characteristics that really help to determine where people choose to locate. And with greater investments in broadband infrastructure, the region will attract and retain these remote workers and their families. From its extensive coastline and its vast forest land, the region is ready to support developments in clean energy. New renewable energy products in solar, offshore wind, and bioproducts present opportunities to expand the clean energy sector and create thousands of new jobs in manufacturing and construction. To support developments in offshore wind, northern Maine Community College in Presque Isle offers a wind power technology program that equips students with wind turbine maintenance and electrical power production skills to become wind farm operators, turbine manufacturers, and contractors. Another opportunity that carries the potential for regional job creation is aquaculture. 2 proposed aquaculture projects in Bucksport and Gouldsboro use innovative technologies to reduce waste and support ocean health. So by supporting this growth and innovation in clean energy and blue tech, it will really increase the diversification, adaptability, and resiliency of the regional economy. The redesignation of the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument as a national park would provide a multitude of economic benefits to the region. As a place of historical and cultural significance, the redesignation of the national monument would increase the area's potential for enhanced tourism, property values, quality of life, and business attraction. The visitors to the Katahdin Woods and Waters National Monument contribute to local spending and support local jobs, which significantly contributes to the local and regional economy. The redesignation of the National Monument would also create additional jobs in outdoor education, conservation, resource management, restaurants, and lodging, and attract the job seekers that have the desires to work in the outdoor recreation and hospitality industries. And onto threats. Despite its many assets, the region is confronted with the outmigration of people. Contributing factors include low wages and the lack of broadband and childcare, which consequently puts the region at a disadvantage for attracting and retaining young people and families, which are really key groups for addressing the region's aging workforce. To combat this rural outmigration and the subsequent labor force shortage, investments must be made in infrastructure that benefits every individual that participates in the economy, from young people to families and the aging workforce population. With climate change comes increases in annual precipitation and severe storm frequency, both of which heighten the risk of flooding events that damage infrastructure and make communities more vulnerable, particularly those in coastal areas. Key industry sectors projected to be most impacted by the changing climate include tourism, agriculture, forestry, and transportation, all of which really play significant roles in the regional economy. Developing strategies to build awareness, acceptance, and action will strengthen the region's resilience against climate-related impacts, while also supporting the communities, businesses, and key sectors that make the region a vibrant place. An aging workforce, coupled with trends of outmigration, continue to present challenges to the regional economy. To ensure the long-term productivity and prosperity of the regional economy, additional attention must be given to filling in-demand positions by supporting the existing workforce, as well as providing the critical resources needed to attract and retain young qualified workers. And lastly is long-term effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. As the regional economy continues to recover from the pandemic, some impacts may linger, including business closures, decline in employment, and the recovery of the hospitality industry. The shift to working and learning remotely really emphasized the adaptability of regional businesses, communities, and educational institutions, and the urgent need for a reliable internet connection. Through community investments in digital infrastructure, additional housing services, and increased federal and state support, the region will be equipped to continue its economic recovery while also providing equitable access to resources for all. The results of the SWOT analysis exercise really emphasized the interconnectedness of the region's assets and challenges. Following a comprehensive review of the SWOT analysis, a vision emerged, which is to improve economic opportunity and increase jobs by strengthening the connectivity and collaboration between communities, businesses, and individuals while fostering the region's long-term sustainability, resilience, and prosperity. With input from the CEDS task force, 5 separate goal areas were formed based on regional priorities and needs. These are broadband, transportation, climate resilience, workforce and education, and business. Now you will hear from members of the CEDS task force and a couple of my EMDC colleagues that will be presenting the 5 goals of the CEDS. First, on behalf of the CEDS task force, we have Vicki Rusbolt, Director of Community and Business Services here at EMDC, to present the broadband goal.
Thank you, Anna, and good afternoon, everyone. So the first goal is expand and increase the accessibility and affordability of broadband capacity. Identifying the expansion of broadband as a regional goal was an easy and logical decision. We all recognize the importance of connectivity and digital literacy, but the pandemic amplified the importance of high quality and accessible broadband as a primary source for communication and doing business. Whether it's supporting a business with marketing their products and services, supporting remote education platforms, or providing information and resources to job seekers, reliable connectivity will be critical as we work towards economic prosperity and inclusivity in the EMDC region.
Thank you, Vicki. Yes, broadband expansion is at the heart of the region's greatest needs, and in order to support the remote work, education, and healthcare, the access, affordability, and reliability of broadband must be a regional priority. So we have 2 strategies here. Our first strategy is to increase the collaboration between communities. To do that, we will create a regional broadband committee, develop a regional needs assessment, identify broadband gaps, and develop strategies for improvement. And our second strategy is to prioritize affordability and connectivity. To do this, we will increase access in underserved areas and also increase regional broadband capacity that meets federal communications standards. Next, we have Sarah Devlin, who is the Director of the Bangor Area Comprehensive Transportation System for the transportation goal.
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everyone. As Anna mentioned, I am Sarah Devlin, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about goal number 2, improve and expand existing transportation infrastructure and support port and rail development. The safe and efficient movement of goods and people is critical for economic growth in our region. To help facilitate economic prosperity, our transportation network needs to be well connected among all modes of transportation. It needs to be reliable and it should be sustainable. Continued partnerships will help strengthen connections between rail, air, sea, and highways. Changes in the regional transit system, such as designated stops, longer service hours, will result in a more reliable public transportation system. In preparing the region for electrification of personal vehicles and transit fleets is just one step towards transportation sustainability. All of these efforts will cultivate and support economic growth in the region, and BACS is excited to be a partner and will continue to support the goals of the economic development strategy.
Thank you, Sarah. Addressing aging transportation infrastructure and connectivity between sea, air, rail, and roads is really critical to the region for economic growth across all existing and emerging industries. Our first strategy for transportation is to enhance the movement of people. And our strategies below this is to develop a regional needs assessment, support the improvement and upgrade of roads and bridges, and to increase public transportation network and infrastructure. Our second strategy is to enhance the movement of goods and services. To do this, we will identify gaps in the existing network, promote the benefits of rail improvements to businesses and communities, promote the benefits of port infrastructure to businesses and communities, and also develop a business survey to assess air freight needs. On to climate resilience, we have Suzanne Miller, Director of Bureau of Remediation and Waste Management at Maine Department of Environmental Protection, who will be presenting the climate resilience goal.
Thanks, Anna, and good afternoon, everybody. Goal number 3, foster methods of adaptation and mitigation to strengthen the region's resilience against climate-related impacts. So this goal is really important because as we learn more about climate change and how it impacts us, we're also learning more about how it impacts our lives day to day. So for example, we're seeing an increase in destructive storms, the severity of storms, flooding, stormwater, and all of these things are affecting our infrastructure, whether it be roads or buildings. We're also seeing an uptick in tick-borne illness and diseases relating to heat, which are affecting our health. And we're also seeing things that affect our way of life here in Maine, which focuses so much on the outdoors. For example, in the summertime, we're seeing increased drought. We're seeing lake levels lowering. We're enjoying our camps less because the lake levels are being lowered. We're seeing impacts to fish and wildlife. And this ties right into the tourism and hospitality sectors. So the role that this goal plays in fostering and improvements in economic development and long-term prosperity are because by looking at climate change and looking at ways to adapt and mitigate impacts, it provides us an opportunity to save and improve our infrastructure, to help innovate climate-friendly practices, which means enhancing and allowing for opportunities for growth in new technology sectors, new jobs, and finally, to protect our quality of life, our outdoors, our recreation, which are so important to so many of us, which in turn, with new jobs and a protection of our outdoors and our recreational opportunities, we should be able to attract some new people to Maine to enhance our businesses.
Thanks so much, Suzanne. Through support for clean energy, innovation, and embracing advancements in clean energy increases the region's resiliency to projected climate change impacts and also presents opportunities for environmental protection, job creation, and the growth and attraction of businesses. So our first strategy is to support the goals and strategies of Maine's Climate Action Plan. To accomplish this, we will develop a regional climate needs assessment, identify building and transportation infrastructure of key concern, and provide specialized technical assistance to coastal communities, communities in general, but in particular our coastal communities. And then our second strategy is to support clean energy innovation. To accomplish this, we will assist with grant development for projects that support renewable energy generation and climate adaptation, and also encourage investments in climate-ready infrastructure. And our fourth goal, on behalf of the CEDS Task Force, Susan Serini, Senior Director of Workforce Services here at EMDC, will present the Workforce and Education Goal.
Thank you, Anna. So goal number 4 is to develop, retain, and attract talent. I think we've all experienced that workforce is a topic that comes up in almost every discussion we have, whether it's with businesses or in communities. It's a key component to growth and retention of our current businesses, as well as a resource for attracting new businesses into our regions. There are opportunities to continue the work that has been done through collaboration with our educational providers, as well as our economic development, business, and community leaders. We can work together to provide training opportunities for our current job seekers that will give them access to quality jobs. And we can work with our businesses to help identify workforce needs, both current and projected, that will allow us to design trainings to address those needs and to help attract job seekers to the jobs that are right here and available. The work that we do together to promote the resources and opportunities in our regions will in return attract new talent, as well as provide opportunities for those who have left our regions to even come back home. Our region has already shown the ability to adjust and mobilize quickly at any given time based on what is going on around us. We have the programs, we have the education facilities, and we have strong leaders that are ready to work together to build a stronger workforce. And more importantly, we have a great place to both live and work.
Thanks, Susan. The multitude of diverse workforce programs and educational institutions that the region has to offer really puts us at a competitive advantage for attracting and retaining the workforce it really needs to prosper. So our first strategy is to increase collaboration between educational institutions and businesses. To accomplish this, we will develop an ongoing survey to determine training needs and skills businesses seek. We will promote and provide educational and training opportunities for our in-demand industries. And we will also support the increase of micro-credentialing and certification programs. Strategy 2 is to improve digital literacy of individuals and businesses. To do this, we will develop a survey to gauge digital literacy skills and also provide digital literacy skills training. Strategy 3, attract workforce to region. Promote and increase regional assets and amenities. We will also increase participation in our workforce services programs. And with that, this is our final goal. We have David Cole, consultant, former Maine DOT commissioner, and longtime EMDC employee. He will be presenting on business.
Thank you, Anna. And let me add to, I think you've done a great job as well. Having done your job once, I respect what you've done coming in coldly. So thank you. Goal 5, support the growth of existing businesses and attraction of new businesses. To me, this kind of pulls all the goals together, because I believe the essence of economic development is business formation, whether that be, you know, among the tens of thousands of self-employed people we have in our region, or global businesses like Jackson Laboratory, or any of the other small businesses. I believe 40 years ago, we were saying small business is the backbone of the economy, and that hasn't changed. And you also have to be able to look beyond your own region, because we're in the era of mobile people, mobile businesses, mobile capital, mobile ideas. Certainly in e-commerce, you got to be out looking beyond the horizon. So I think that the plan provides a platform for getting to, we have a wealth of entrepreneurs out there with vision at all different levels, but anybody who's been in business knows, you know, you barely got enough time to do the basics, let alone be out exploring the options. So if this document, this plan, EMDC and its partners at the state, federal, and local level can play the role of connecting the people with vision, you know, the business people, to the people with the resources, which are many of the people participating today, then I think that's a platform for.
Thank you, David. From our high quality of life here in the region to opportunities for outdoor recreation to our strong sense of community and thriving tourism economy, the region is really equipped with the amenities and resources it needs to foster that greater entrepreneurship and job creation. So our first strategy is to promote regional assets and funding opportunities, to promote opportunity zones as our first strategy here. We will also promote Department of Economic and Community Development Business Site Selection Tool. Our second strategy is to enhance existing regional business services. To accomplish this, we will develop economic gardening initiatives, provide increased support for rural business entrepreneurs, increase number of businesses that hire workforce services participants, and we will also increase the number of businesses that are connected with impact lending programs. The last section of the plan focuses on economic resilience, which really encompasses equity, substance use disorder recovery, affordable workforce housing, opportunity zones, economic opportunity response teams, and also mill site redevelopment. On equity, really inequities related to health, housing, income, mobility, and opportunity on the basis of race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation limit individuals' access to essential resources and ability to participate in the economy. So when making regional policy decisions, it's really important to provide residents with equitable access to resources and opportunity. Substance use disorders were exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, one of which being the opioid epidemic. Through initiatives like EMDC's 2020 launch of Connecting with Opportunities program, support is provided to individuals for securing education, training, and meaningful employment. And assisting these individuals with their recovery really helps to boost regional resilience. The region's lack of affordable housing for low-income and middle-income workers is another challenge that was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. To maintain and enhance economic diversification, equitable access to housing is critical for the attraction, retention, and resilience of the region's workforce and greater economy. By providing incentives for development and long-term investments in designated low-income zones, opportunity zones have the potential to provide a multitude of economic benefits to communities and businesses, and the tax benefits in these zones present significant opportunities to foster economic development initiatives, including job growth and business attraction. EMDC has historically provided a multitude of services to communities, businesses, and people under the same umbrella. So the EORT model was especially significant following the closure of the paper mills and the job losses that followed. By providing this specialized technical assistance in workforce, business, and community development, the EORT model strengthens the region's resilience to better respond to and prepare for economic downturns. And lastly, despite the paper mill closures, which were once huge economic drivers in the region, our paper mills, there are significant redevelopment efforts that have happened, notably in Bucksport, Lincoln, Millinocket, and East Millinocket. These redevelopment efforts have created jobs, and they've also helped enhance economic growth in surrounding communities. In closing, thank you to all that participated in the 2021 CEDS process. We've really appreciated your input and participation, and the success of the plan would not have been possible without you. So thank you so much. And by leveraging our regional assets and opportunities identified in this plan, the region will be in a better position to minimize weaknesses and mitigate threats to economic growth. To view the plan, you can visit the link on the screen here. And my colleague Ryan has also just posted a link to the CEDS in the chat box. After this meeting, you will receive a follow-up email with the same link and a link to the CEDS webpage, where the plan will be located on our website. And we encourage you to share the plan with your friends and colleagues. and the communities within the region. So with that, on behalf of EMDC, we appreciate the EMDC Board Chair and Mayor of Bangor, Dan Tremble, being here to provide closing remarks today. Here's Dan.
Thanks, Anna. I do once again want to thank all the people that are on the Zoom today for taking the time out to participate in this presentation. And Anna, for all the work you've done on this. I've been on the board for a while, so this is my first CEDS presentation, but it's the best CEDS presentation I've seen. It's very comprehensive. To get over 70 people to participate in 3 committee sessions is tremendous. Over 200 businesses responded to the surveys is huge. So a lot of information was put into this, a lot of work was put into this, and it's a great report. I mean, EMDC could go on doing the work we do day in and day out, doing loans, helping small businesses, helping workforce training, and I think we maintain the status quo. But if we take this report and don't put it on a back shelf, but use this as our blueprint, our roadmap for the next 5 years, I think we'll make significant progress to improve the economy and improve the lives of people in the counties that we serve. I mean, one thing that wasn't mentioned is you look at Piscataquis County, they've got a huge poverty rate, and the people in Penobscot County that are living in poverty has increased tremendously in the last decade. So through these efforts and through what we're going to accomplish in the next 5 years by following the recommendations of this report, hopefully we can lift people out of poverty and provide great jobs. So just once again, want to thank everybody for their participation, and thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.